Minister of Civil Aviation Jayant Sinha is joining us live. This is the first government reaction, a policy maker who joins us right after the budget. Thank you very much, Mr. Sinha, for being with us. So who was this budget meant for, and has mission been accomplished as far as a budget for Bharat, a budget for elections is concerned?
This is an outstanding, historic 10 out of 10 interim budget because it has addressed all of the needs in the economy. The Honorable Finance Minister Shri Arun Jaitley ji had said earlier that we have to respond to some of the challenges that we are facing, and we've responded to those challenges with the support that we are providing to the rural sector, the support that we are providing for middle class consumption, and the further build out of the social safety net. So these were very important requirements at this stage in the economy. We've addressed those fully, while at the same time maintaining the fiscal glide path, keeping the fiscal deficit at 3.4%, and ensuring that the well-deserved reputation that we have for fiscal prudence is maintained. So in that sense, we have been able to direct expenditure and spending to the areas that is required, while at the same time ensuring that the overall budget, the overall fiscal spending is done in a way that is for the capital markets very prudent and very measured.
Okay, Mr. Sinha, we have a wonderful panel of people here, market participants as well as people who understand the macroeconomic landscape. And before I rope them in to grill you more on the budget, I have a quick question. You say we have maintained the fiscal glide path. We actually haven't. We're going to end up at 3.4% for this year and at 3.4% for next year. We were supposed to get to that mark of 3% a lot before than we actually will. So two questions there, fiscal glide path, and also as far as the farm income is concerned, 6,000 rupees is perhaps fiscally responsible, but is that going to move the needle to alleviate rural pain?
So let me address the fiscal glide path question first, Supriya. The worry was that like it had been done during the time of the UPA, if you remember their budget of 2009, the interim budget, they just took all fiscal prudence and shredded it completely. We have absolutely not done that. We've said all along that both fiscal consolidation in terms of getting to 3% as well as debt consolidation is extremely important to us. So we have maintained that objective. Certainly we've not exceeded the fiscal deficit by any significant measure this year. We've gone to 3.4 instead of 3.3, and next year we maintained it at 3.4 to address some of the needs that we see in the economy right now. But the overall glide path remains exactly as it is. So that's kind of where we are. We've said we'd get to 3%. I think the year was 2022, and we are certainly intending to do that as well. Now, coming to your question about whether there is sufficient support, if you look at all of the measures that are going into the rural sector right now, whether it is the state initiatives to do loan waivers, whether it is the state support programs like my own home state of Jharkhand is doing, where we are providing 5,000 rupees per acre per harvest, and then on top of that you're providing this unconditional cash transfer per household of 6,000 rupees. The combination of all of these measures is sufficient to really take the rural sector, which is going through a profound transformation, and really position it strongly for the future. And of course, all of this comes after all the work that we've done, whether it is the Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana, whether it is rural roads, whether it is ENAM, which is agricultural marketplaces, soil health cards. There have been many measures we've already undertaken to improve the rural economy, and then this also is a very big boost for supporting it further. So you have to look at it in its totality, not just look at it in isolation.
Maithili?
Mr. Sinha, this is Maithili from the Noida studio. I have a small question for you. Is that at a time when actually the need of the hour is to increase investment rather than consumption, and we've seen that capacity utilization is already touching the 75-76% mark where we need further investment, why has the budget chosen to give a push to consumption rather than investment, number one? Number two, if we look at the tax revenues net to center, till November, for which we have CGA figures, we've achieved barely 50% of the budget estimate. But I find that in your new budget at a glance, that you're assuming that the net tax to center is even more than the budget estimate. So how are you going to make up this huge gap on your revenue front, number one? And number two, what happens to investment? Two questions.
So the gap on the revenue front is something that, you know, when you speak to expenditure and you speak to DEA and the concerned officials, they'll tell you exactly how they've thought through the revenue collection for the rest of the year. Of course, there's been a huge uptick. January, I think, on GST has got to 1 trillion rupees, 1 lakh crores. So I think we are certainly seeing a big uptick in revenue collection. And as you know, it's very back-end loaded. And so the last 3-4 months of the year, I think, will be sufficient to be able to deal with the revenue collection issues, Maithili, that you brought up. Now, coming to the investment point, you are seeing in sector after sector that there is significant growth happening, whether it is in construction, obviously real estate, we are going to boost through all of this, aviation, in many sectors there's tremendous growth, and so the investment is happening. Much of the investment in today's economy is not the traditional investment of the past. I always give the example of aviation, where planes are not being bought, they're being leased, and that doesn't show up as far as the investment numbers are concerned, but it is in fact capital asset that we are bringing and using in the economy. So in that sense, investment is happening, investment will continue to happen. The other very important aspect of investment that you must consider is that the fiscal prudence that we've demonstrated, the 3.4% target that we are maintaining for this year and next year, is going to give room, hopefully, on the monetary policy side. And the moment interest rates come down, and India is the highest real interest rates in the world, among the major economies. Once interest rates start to come down, that's going to boost investment as well. And then finally, as far as investment is concerned, the cash that we are putting in the pockets of the rural economy, of the middle class, a lot of that will go into consumer durables, it's going to go into autos, it's going to go into two-wheelers, and that will also spur further investment. So all of these, I think, are going to support investment, they're going to support jobs, and they're going to support economic growth.
I wanted to ask you a question on disinvestment. Now, you've had personal experience of just how difficult it is to do investment in this country, Air India being a classic example. And despite that, the budget says that we are going to achieve that to 80,000 crores. We've done barely 35,000 crores, and it's upped it for next year. And we just have just about 2 months left to go in this fiscal. How are we going to do that?
Again, that's a question you must ask the Department of Investments and Public Asset Management, because they have sat down and put those numbers together. And of course, there's a whole variety of things that are happening right now that will add to that. Of course, an example is what we're doing on airports. We are privatizing 6 airports. We have, Air India ground handling that is also being considered for disinvestment. We have Pawan Hans that's being considered for disinvestment. All 3 of these are in my ministry, so I know about them in detail. Similarly, there are a variety of things that are being undertaken, the PFC-REC merger as well. So I think the numbers are there. I think that's why, as the calculations show, we're expecting 80,000 crores of disinvestment proceeds this year, and we've achieved up to 1 lakh crores, and I think that's what's estimated for 1920 as well.
Okay, Mr. Jayant Sinha, thank you very much for that quick and your first take on the union budget. We'll of course be talking at length this evening when we're going to discuss the verdict with Swaminathan Iyer tonight at 9. Thank you very much, Mr. Sinha, for being with us.